Hi, I'm Larry McAtee, Ward 3 City Councilman. What an unbelievable, and I say that when you will hear this story, what an unbelievable program we have. I just learned about this last week at Rotary, and my two guests are from the Oklahoma City Curbside Chronicle. And it is a new magazine with one issue out. And we have the executive director, Whitley O'Connor. Whitley, thank you for coming down today.
Thank you.
And we also have Rania Fergotson, who is the editor, if I got my title straight. Rania, thanks for coming down.
Thank you.
Now, y'all are students.
Yes, sir. Yeah. I'll be a senior this year at Vanderbilt University studying sociology and human organizational development.
And Rania?
And I'll be a senior at the University of Oklahoma studying marketing.
But you have a common passion. What is that passion?
Social enterprise and helping the homeless.
Now, what is social enterprise?
Social enterprise is when you integrate business and nonprofit to create a more sustainable model. So instead of seeking grants and foundations money, you more try to create sustainability through the sale of goods or services. Sorry.
And in this case, the goods or services starting out is the Curbside Chronicle.
Yes.
What's the vision of the Curbside Chronicle, Rania?
The vision of the Curbside Chronicle has three main points. The first main goal is to employ the homeless through the sale of the magazine. The second goal is to empower the homeless by giving them a voice within the magazine. And the third goal is to help community relations between the homeless and the non-homeless by providing a safe and comfortable environment for interaction between the two groups.
Now, that vision has already started here in Oklahoma City, and you've put out the first issue?
Yes, sir.
How many printings did you have in the first issue?
We printed 2,000 copies.
2,000 copies. And how is sales going?
They're going pretty well. We had a really strong launch, probably one of the best in the history of street papers in the country. They've slowed down a little bit since then. We had really strong sales to the launch party. We had really great attendance. But we're looking up. We've done really well this week, and we're adding on more and more vendors every day. We have more people approaching us wanting to sell, so it's looking good, yeah.
Now, you're talking about people wanting to sell. And here's where the intriguing thing to me comes in. Who are your sales force?
Homeless vendors are who sell our magazine.
Now, what do you mean by a homeless vendor?
The model behind street papers and the Curbside Chronicle is that it is a way to help employ the homeless and help transition them back into other employment. And so you take people who are homeless, who are on the streets, who aren't in employment, and you give them their first 15 magazines for free, which they sell for the suggested donation of $2, and they keep that. But then after that, they have to buy each magazine for 75 cents, and then they continue to sell them for $2. So they make $1.25 off of each magazine, and they keep all of that profit. And the idea is that they can use this to help gain skills like setting a schedule and being on time and interacting with customers to help build these skills up that they're going to need whenever we help them transition into subsequent employment.
Now, in this first issue that went out, about how many vendors did you have out there selling the magazine?
We have about 10 vendors right now. Yeah.
And you meet with them regularly, I understand.
Yeah, every week. We actually have a meeting this afternoon at 1 p.m. Every Wednesday at 1 p.m. we meet, and our vendors just kind of get together and they let us know how it's going, who we might need to talk to, businesses we might be able to get into selling. So just kind of like feedback from them and feedback from us. We hear stories. People will call us and tell us they saw this vendor around or they saw that one. And so we just kind of like trade feedback so that they know how to improve and we know how we can improve as well.
Now, where did you recruit your first vendors from?
We work with the Homeless Alliance in off Northwest 4th in Virginia. And so the Day Center is where we get most of our vendors from, but we also have started driving around and talking to panhandlers, and panhandlers have started to approach us because we really see this as just a positive alternative to panhandling.
Well, that's one of the things that really intrigued me, as I mentioned to you off camera. In my ward, I have a large number of panhandlers, and some of the public has a negative impact towards those people. And you have an experience from Nashville, Whitley. What happened in Nashville with the growth of their version of the Chronicle, and how did it impact panhandling over there?
Yeah, well, in Nashville, they have the largest street paper in the U.S., and it's called The Contributor. And there, they now employ about 400 homeless.
Whoa, now, 400?
400, yes, sir.
Go ahead.
And they sell about 120,000 copies a month. And so there, I actually became a freshman at the same time they were kind of rising in the ranks of street papers. They went from 10,000 sales a month in January 2010 to 120,000 a month in December. So I was there right in the middle, around August when I started, that they were really rising in their sales and increasing their workforce, more and more homeless. I got there when they had about 150 vendors. And so by the end of the year, they had about 350. And so I got to see more and more people on the street corners, and what I saw was fewer and fewer and fewer panhandlers. And a lot of these I would on occasion see a panhandler transition into a vendor who was selling their paper. And Nashville, you really can't find panhandler. Every once in a while, if you're out late at night in downtown, you might run across one. But I would say in the 3 years I've been there, I've maybe encountered 5 panhandlers, but I've encountered just dozens and dozens of the vendors. And the thing is, they've realized that they can get more respect from the community. They can work an honest job through the paper and actually make more money that way.
Now, is their economic model similar to the one here? In other words, they get the first 15 free, they sell those for $2 each, and then they take that and they reinvest that for what, 75 cents an issue, and then they pocket the profit off of the difference between the selling price and that?
Well, theirs is a little different. Each
Okay.
street paper has a little bit different of a
Oh,
model.
okay.
It all has kind of this social enterprise aspect to it, but theirs they actually buy for a quarter and sell for $1.
Oh, okay.
So it's a little bit different, but it's a newspaper there, which is a little bit cheaper to print. We decided to go with a magazine format because we thought it would allow for a lot more content, a lot more visually appealing. And we also thought that it would create more value in the product that would be better perceived by the community.
But the same thing is true, that to the respect that I go out and I sell, then I make more money, and that gives me a greater income, and then helps me to transition maybe from homeless back into the mainstream.
Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. Now, how about the content? I've read the first edition, but how about the content? What's in the Oklahoma City Curbside Chronicle?
Yeah, we have a 50-50 split with our content. Half of our content just takes form like a general interest magazine. We cover local cuisine, local new businesses, interesting people in the community that we interview. And then the other 50% is the empowering aspect of the magazine. And those articles are written by the homeless and about the homeless community. And so we have homeless writers who can write about anything they want. In our first issue, we had I'm Homeless, Not Dogless article about the importance of dogs in the homeless community. And we had one of our vendors, Smiley, write about just his favorite pastime in Oklahoma City, which is the underground tunnels, which is where he likes to get around if people don't know about it. And then we also have agencies that work with the homeless write about just issues within the homeless community. We had Positive Tomorrows write an issue about what homelessness looks like for children and in education.
Yeah, I found that one about the gentleman with the dogs very, very intriguing. Then you also had an article about a former athlete.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, that was his name is Danny Harris. He's a former, actually #1 in the world at one point, 400-meter hurdler. He won a silver medal in the 1984 Olympics at the age of 18. So very young, he gained this fame as a very naturally talented athlete. And we ended up doing an interview with him. And what had happened is that he, through this fame and not knowing how to handle it, he had all these people surrounding him, cheering him on, but no one telling him how to handle the money and all the acclaim. And so he ended up developing a cocaine addiction and actually got banned from the sport for that. And then he became homeless and actually ended up going to rehab on Skid Row, became sober, and now he actually is a manager at the rehab where he became sober, has been sober for 7 years. So it's kind of a success story about this athlete kind of showing homelessness, it can happen to anyone really, and this world-renowned athlete who was at one time the best in the world, it happened to him, but since then he's been able to recover.
That was an interesting point you made there, Whitley. Homelessness can happen to anyone. And what you're doing is trying to reach out then and give those homeless folks some hope and a way to see that hope turn into reality.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm a businessman out there and I catch your passion and I'd like to place an ad, let's just have a commercial here for a minute. How do I get an ad placed in the Chronicle?
Yeah, you can go online, thecurbsidechronicle.org, and we actually have an advertising tab on our website, and we have a spreadsheet of all of our advertising prices. And you can advertise anywhere from a business size ad, business card size ad, or a full page. You can get the back page if you want. Depending on where you want the placement and how large it is and how often you run, determines the price. But our prices are actually incredibly competitive. There's no other publication in Oklahoma State that's going to beat our prices in terms of audience and in terms of price. Magazines are viewed on average by 2.5 people, whereas a newspaper is viewed by 1 person. So when you place an ad with us, you're going to be much more visible with the copies that are being produced.
Great shameless commercial. I appreciate that. All right. Now, you also, you are a nonprofit.
Yes, sir.
So you do accept donations. Those donations are tax deductible to a business or an individual that wants to make a donation?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
How about, what's the best way to accept a donation or to get a donation from one of our listeners? What can they do?
Yeah, so we're actually a nonprofit under the Homeless Alliance. So they provide us office space and have just been really great in the launch of this. So the best way would be to actually donate to the Homeless Alliance, designating the money to us. They run all of our donations through their account so they can write the tax donations and make it deductible. So the best way would be to go on our website. We actually have a donate page as well, so they can see exactly where to send the check and how to write it and all of that.
Now, one thing that you mentioned and we just kind of glossed over, you're saying like this afternoon you're having a meeting with your vendors. You're giving your vendors some life skills, is that correct?
Yes.
That'll help them be successful as they continue their journey through life, whether they continue as a vendor for the Curbside Chronicle or whether they get another job. Well, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. I really, really appreciate you all taking time out of your schedule to come down and talk with our viewers today. And folks out there, I hope you've caught the passion that Whitley and Rania have. There are individuals out there who need some hope and need a way to put that hope into action, and y'all are giving them that opportunity. So if you see in the next few weeks ahead and the next months ahead people selling the Curbside Chronicle, now you know what it's going for, and it's got a great vision and a great future ahead. Thank you for coming. May God bless each of you as you continue to help those who are less fortunate than us, and may God bless you in your life as you go forward and catch the same vision of helping others that Whitley and Rania have had. Thank you for watching.